So up to now, we focused on individual elements. That means we focused how to create the HTML document, and after that how to style the individual elements by using CSS as well as Bootstrap. And after that, we have focused on the components. Like that, we focused on individual pieces of the web page. But the real challenge is when we want to create a complete web page or website. By using all these features, it is really a great challenge, and it is really difficult. Difficult in the sense, first we should know what is the order we should follow. Some good number of steps are there, one should follow. So once we follow all these steps in the right way, you can deal with any complex web page easily. Actually, when we are thinking about these web applications, the first one is RWD, next one IWD. Most of the people feel that IWD is easy than RWD. Partially it is correct, because designing is always challenging. Okay, so when compared with the designing, IWD is little bit easy when compared with RWD, because in the IWD, so we can take the support of programming language and we will focus on implementing the particular styles and all. But when you come to the RWD, so here the first thing that attracts the user is the user interface. To make the user interface really very attractive, so it is really hard. We have to choose the right colors, we have to choose the right images, right fonts, and right layout of the page. These all are real-time challenges, and it is really time-taking process even. But now we are dealing with this RWD part only. So if you feel difficulty to design the complete web page, so this session is for you, because in this session I will give you some important guidelines as well as the approach to follow when you are developing the application. So with that, definitely you can feel the comfort and you can continue to create the applications very, very easily. And today I'm going to create a restaurant application as the demonstration. Okay, see how the application looks like. So this is the application that we are going to create here. Actually, this application is simple, but it contains many details here. Okay, so you can add some more elements to this, but to make it simple, I just taken this example here. Okay, so here you can find so many details. The first thing is the navigation bar here. So the navigation bar contains some elements and some logo here. And when you come to the header part, in the header part, you have two images here. One image is the background image. The other image is the foreground image. That means this is existed on top of the page, whereas this one is the background image. And after that, you can see some transparent area. Okay, you can see I have created some transparent area here, and I placed some text on top of that area. And when you move down here, there is a separate part actually. So I have placed some dummy text here, and you can place whatever you want later. So to design this header, we need to go with some good number of CSS properties as well as Bootstrap classes also. That means it is real challenge to create that such kind of attractive design. And now when we move down here, as we are moving this page, this part is simple to implement because they are nothing but grid of cards. Okay, already we learned how to create the grid of cards. That is absolutely fine. But when we are moving this page, you can see the background image is not scrolling along with the page. Okay, so that is the fixed background image I have taken there. And finally, when you come to the footer, so in the footer we can see this part here. Okay, so this is the page that we are going to create today. And now let us see how it will appear in the mobile view. Okay, let's go to the mobile view here. So first of all, it will be converted into the collapsible navigation bar. That is the first change. And you can find when we go to the mobile view, so this image is removed because I don't want that image to appear in the mobile view, so that I have removed that image. It will appear above mobile images, mobile devices. For example, so now you see here, so this image is appearing on the screens which are larger than the mobile. But when I go to the mobile, so I have removed that because I don't want that image to display. There is no specific reason for that. So when you want to remove some content from the mobile view, so that this technique will be useful to us. And in the same way, when you come to the footer here, so in the footer actually three parts are there. At left side one address, right side another address. In middle I place some SVG. I don't want to see this SVG in mobile devices. Then once you go to the mobile device, you can see that has disappeared from this, but you can see it when we move out from this. In this area that will be appeared. So these all are the details that we have to focus while creating this application, and it is a real challenge. Okay, so once you create this kind of page, definitely you can deal with all other pages very easily here. Okay, so the first thing to create this kind of web page, this is not web application, it is just a website. Okay, so I already explained you the difference between website and web application. For example, if I click on customize option here, so it will show the items here. So what items you can customize to add this one. But when I click on these items, nothing will happen because these are just static links. All are static links. When I click on the restaurants or items or home, nothing is happening because these all are the static links, because it is just a website. Okay, and you cannot add these items to the cart, and you cannot perform those operations, because to perform those operations we need the support of JavaScript, and then we can make it as the application to get dynamic data every time. Then we can call it as the web application finally. But this is not web application, this is just a website, because you using this RWD you can just create the website. In future, we can convert this website into the web application with the support of JavaScript as well as React.js also. That is our next target actually. So let us start designing this. So let us try to complete as much as we can on this today, and on tomorrow we can focus on the rest of the features. Okay, so the first thing is I have created the new project here as usually. In this new project, the first challenge is take the images. Okay, so here I have downloaded some images. Okay, so we can use these images. Choosing the images is always a real challenge again, because that images should match with the application theme. Once you observe, almost it contains some yellow and orange combination theme around this page. So the that means the items color is also orange or light yellow, and also the button color also have given the same kind of thing here. Okay, so that it contains such kind of theme. The reason is intentionally I didn't apply any theme to this, but the images what I have chosen will give such a feel to you. Okay, so that is the reason. So first of all, you have to get the images. So I already downloaded some images in this application, and we are going to use that images here. Okay, I will share these images also with you once the session is completed. Then you can start using it as usually. Okay, now this is the empty application. I want to demonstrate from the scratch so that you will get the complete experience of developing the website. So as usually, I need to create two files here. So one of them is the HTML file. Let me name it as index.html and create that file here. And after that, I need the CSS support also, so that I can write styles.css. Because when we are developing the complete website, definitely you have to write some CSS also. Okay, so at least 20 to 30% of styles you can implement using CSS, whereas for the remaining 50 or 60%, definitely you can take the support from the Bootstrap itself. Okay, now let us do some prerequisites first of all. First, I should add some Bootstrap, Google fonts here, because I want to use some Google fonts to make my application attractive. So for that purpose, you can go to Google Fonts. So these are the steps you should follow. Okay, this is the basic setup actually. So I'm trying to use this Roboto font here, so that we have to copy the link element related to these Google Fonts and paste here so that we can use this. And also we have to connect our external CSS file here. Okay, now this Roboto Google font as well as our own CSS file, both are connected to this one. That is fine. And after that, I need to add the Bootstrap CDN links also, because I want to use the Bootstrap components as well as Bootstrap styles also into this one. Okay, so now you can open the getbootstrap.com official website, read the docs. Okay, no need to go for read the docs. In the bottom of the page, you can find the CDN links. Now in this page, we are going to use CSS as well as components also. That's why copy the CSS first and place it above all the other links in this document. Okay, now I have placed it here. And after that, I need to copy the JavaScript also, place it just above the closing body tag here. Okay, now everything is ready. This is the basic setup. And now you can choose some colors also. So to pick the colors, it is better to open some hexadecimal colors here. So once we open all these things, because we are going to use these things one by one in our document, it is better to open all such kind of stuff in the tabs. Actually here I have not used any fonts, icons actually, so that even you can use icons to make it more attractive. So then you can use the font awesome icons also to that, and you can make it attractive. So now you can pick some latest palettes here, and let me open this tab here. So based on my requirement, I can select the particular colors dynamically and I can use it. Okay, so as of now, everything is ready. And the first thing is we have to write the universal styles here. Okay, so the universal styles. So what are the universal styles means? Universal styles in the sense, when we start adding the elements, by default, every element contains some properties. They are called as the default properties. Element can have default color, default size, default font, default padding, default margin. These all are the default properties of every element. So we don't care about the remaining properties, but we are very interesting about this margin and padding, because as the developer, we can decide the margin and padding. We don't want the default values. If you consider the default values, so the alignment of the elements can be little bit changed. That's why it is good practice to remove the default default padding as well as margin for every element. So how can we represent every element? If you write asterisk here, that is called as universal selector. So this asterisk, if you write here, this will be applied for each and every element that you are going to add to the body here. For example, if I add some h1 here, so h1 will get these styles. What I'm writing here, I can write the padding as 0 and you can write the margin as 0. So when you are representing the value 0, you can even make it as unitless. So you don't need to write 0px, 0px. Simply you can write 0, that is almost equal to 0px. But for the remaining values, you need to write the units. For 0 values, you can even make it as unitless. So now what happened if I add some h1 elements or paragraphs or images? So every element automatically will get the 0 padding and 0 margin. Now I can decide how much padding and margin that I need for the particular element dynamically here. So, and one more thing is I want to add the font family also, because I want to use the same font for all the elements here. You can even decide the fonts if you want to use many. As of now, I prefer to use these Google fonts for the entire document to make it simple. Okay, let me close it. And here you can paste it as the universal style. That means every element will get this Roboto font automatically. So now you may ask, sir, I want to use Roboto font only for the headings, and for the paragraphs and other content I want to use the different things. Then you can remove it from the universal thing and you can use this font family with respect to that particular selector itself. Now this is the universal selector. So the next thing is I want to open this HTML as well as the CSS besides each other for good readability. So when we click on this button here, now it will be open. Now you can see the HTML is here as well as the CSS is also here, so that we can add element and we can apply the styles here, and you can see the output here in the right way. Let me open with live server. So as of now, it is totally empty, nothing is there. First, let me change the title here. So just I have added some title, something like restaurant application. Okay, and I want to add some small logo also here. Okay, if you want to add some logo here, you can use link colon favicon. Okay, and here you can write double dot slash and go to images. So I have taken some logo. You can use the same logo here also. Now you can see, you can find the logo also here. That means when you keep the cursor on it, so the title will appear and you can see the logo. And when you bookmark this website, so that then it will bookmark this website with the name that you have provided here, that is nothing but the title. Okay, so to add such kind of title here, so let me keep this CSS aside for some time because we will use it later. So now the basic setup is ready. So first I have added the Bootstrap CDN here, and after that our own CSS link here and Google Fonts, and we have added the fav icon, stands for favorite icon. That means it will appear just before the title. Okay, that is favorite icon. I have taken the same logo. So now the basic setup, everything is ready. Now focus on the body here. So now once you have a look at this previous document here, you can find some content. First, we need to create a navigation bar here. So let me write the comments here. I need to create the navigation bar. Okay, so once the navigation bar is completed, after the navigation bar, I need to create some header here. Okay, so I need to create header. This is called as header of the document just below this one. So let me keep the comment and write the header. Okay, so once the header is completed, so after the header, here we are having some main content. So this is all called as the main content, and below the main content we have taken the footer. That is very simple structure of the application. This is the main content and the final one is footer. So these are the 4 parts I have taken. Later you can add some more features here and you can make it really attractive. That means there is no limit for the creativity. You can make it really even more wonderful than that you are able to see here. This is just very basic. It's not, I think it's not so wonderful. It is just basic, but this idea will help you to bring the internal creative skills of you. Okay, so now let us start designing these things one by one. So first thing is, let us create the navigation bar. Okay, so to create the navigation bar, we can completely depends upon the Bootstrap. Now you don't need to type and write everything. It is time taking process, so that you can go to the Bootstrap here. Let me open get Bootstrap, go to the read the docs. So even in the real world development also, real time application development also, you can follow the same techniques. For example, if you want to create some component, if you want to use some component, you no need to manually type the code. But without learning the Bootstrap, you should not copy paste the code. That's the problem. But once you learn, because already we spent a lot of time and we discussed each and every class, now we know how to create the navigation bar component, I mean card component, drop down, everything. Now we are eligible to copy the code. Okay, just to save our time, you can go to this components area and select the navigation nav bar here. So from the nav bar, you can select whatever you want. So this navigation bar is enough for us, so that I want to take this code. So in this code, some additional things are there, like drop down I don't want, disabled I don't want. I can remove these unwanted elements once you copy the content. Once I click on this, that content is copied. Let me paste it here. Now the navigation bar is ready. Okay, let us have a look on the navigation bar. You can see the same kind of navigation bar here. Navigation bar should occupy the 100% width. Okay, so that's why here you can see it has occupied 100% width without taking any spaces, because we give the universal selector as padding and margin as 0. That's why it has occupied the 100% width. Now I don't want these 3 elements. I want to keep some links here, like restaurants, items, or something else. Okay, so now what I can do is, okay, I can just go to this VS Code and remove. First of all, this drop down is not required. Okay, so I can remove it from here. This entire drop down list item is not required. While removing this element, you should be careful, because only the person who understands this code, the person who can develop this by their own, they can perform the remove operation perfectly. Otherwise, how they don't know what to remove from here. Okay, now the particular drop down has removed, and the disabled link is also removed, and the first one is not required to be active, so that let me remove it. That is home here, and this area current, this one is not required. Okay, the second one I can make it as the restaurants. Third one I can make it as contact us. Okay, so 3 links I have taken here. So let us open and see. Yes, now you can see the links, 3 links are appearing here, and the search bar. Of course, the search bar is also just static. We cannot search anything here because search also part of the web application, not the website. And now in place of that, I want to use the logo, not the navbar. So let's go to this navbar brand here. So here I'm going to use that logo, double/images, and here I placed it with the logo, and let me give the width of that, for example 50 pixels. Now you can see the logo is placed. Okay, now 50 is too smaller, let me make it as 80 pixels. Okay, so we have created exactly the same kind of navigation bar here. Let me keep these two besides each other for better comparison. So the first part is completed, the navigation bar. Now the challenge is creating the header here. Okay, so let us start creating the second part called header. As of now in this navigation bar, we really did nothing. Just we have copied the code from the get bootstrap related to the navigation bar, and we removed some unwanted elements, and we have made some changes here. For example, if someone is not aware of this bootstrap component, they cannot perform any customization here. To perform customization, one should have the strong knowledge of these things. That's why I advise you first learn the concepts. Later, if time is not sufficient, you can just use some existing code. When you are using some existing code, it is required to modify the code. So if you want to modify any code, you should have strong knowledge of the technology. Otherwise, the normal people cannot modify the existing code. That is really a very difficult process. Okay, now the navigation bar is completed. I'm not going to make any changes to this so that I can simply collapse this. Okay, now the navigation bar is over. Now let us start focus on the header. So in the header, what I want to add. So once you go to this header here, so first of all, I can add an element called header. So in HTML, semantic elements are there. Semantic elements in the sense. So now if you want to create some header here, you have two approaches. You can create the div element and apply the class called header. So this was there before HTML5. In HTML5, it has introduced some semantic elements. That means instead of taking div element and apply the class called as header, you can simply make it as header element itself. Okay, header element, footer element, main element, section element, such kind of elements are available here to make it really more meaningful. Just by keeping some header element, it won't become the header automatically. Remember that point. But it can help us to understand this as the header of the document. Okay. Now, inside of the header, what I want to place. Okay, so the first thing is I want to place some title here, and after that I have to place some image and many content I want to place it. So the first thing is let me keep some styles here. Okay, so for the header I want to apply some styles because first I should take the background color here. Okay, so now come to the CSS, write the styles. So please write the comments properly because we are going to write a lot of CSS here. Along with the bootstrap, we are going to write a lot of CSS. At that time, you can confuse. So which part of the CSS is styling the particular part of this document? If you write the comments in this way, that would be easy to understand. Now, for the header, okay, so header is the selector here. I want to take the background image first of all. Okay, to take the background image, I can use URL. So here I can use images and images 6.jpg. That is the background image I have used previously. Okay, let us see. Yes. So HEAD or header is the element. Okay, so once we use the background image, actually we cannot see the background image here. The reason is no content is there. So now I can give the size of the background. So background size is, we can use cover. When we use the background size as the cover, so that it will stretch to occupy the entire space itself. Okay, and let me use the background position. I can make it as background position right. So because of that, that will be placed at the right side. And later you can make this position as relative, because I can make this position as relative. The reason is some children of the header need to be absolute. So if you do not understand why I have taken relative here, you can just ignore this part for some time, because in this application, on top of this background image, I placed some text, I placed some images, and placed some other text just on the border itself. These all are the children of the header. So when you want to align the children with respect to the parent should be the positioned parent. That's why here I have taken this as a relative. As of now, it is not useful, but in future it would be useful to us. Okay, so now let me try to add the content in the header. So first let us go to the header here. So inside of the header, I can take some class called as content. And I would like to have some padding, some 3 units of the padding around here. So now the content is the custom class. This is not the Bootstrap class. So I can use this to write some CSS styles for this particular element. That's why I have taken the custom class called as content here. So now instead of this, first I would like to add some title here. Okay, so what is title? Title means the particular thing that you are adding here. For example, when you come to this part, you can see your favorite place, and after that you have taken some paragraph. These come under the concept of the title, so I have named it as the title here. Okay, so now let us try to add some title. So let us take the title h1 here. Okay, so for the h1 I can use the class display-5. So I want to make it to appear big in size than h1, so that I have applied the class called as display-5 and the font weight to bold. When I write the font weight to bold, it will appear with bold size. So now I can write here your favorite place or your favorite restaurant. You can place the meaningful text here. Just I have placed some dummy text in this place. Okay, and after that, just I can create a paragraph, apply the Bootstrap class called lead. I can write lorem of some 10 words, for example. Okay, so that's some 10 words I have taken here. Let us see how it appears. As of now, on top of the image in the sense, this is background image actually. So on the background image, you can see some heading as well as the paragraph. But here, this heading is appearing with some different styles, because I have not applied any styles to this content. Okay, just I have added the content and it is appearing in this way. Okay, so now the header part is header in the sense the title part is said to be completed. Once the title part is completed, now I want to apply some border around this. See here in this document, along with this heading and paragraph, you can see some border, and after that you can see some a transparent color and all these things. So to create the border around these two elements, I need to pack these two elements in a parent, so that I can take a div element here and I place it. Now these two will become the children of this div element. Okay, now these two become the children of this div element. By using this div element, we can apply the things whatever you want. First of all, let me apply some Bootstrap classes here. Border, I'm expecting the border here, so that I have taken the border, and I want to create the rounded corners, so that now you can see a border is created and light rounded corners has created. And let us take the margin bottom 3. That means I'm going to place some image below that. That's why I have taken some margin bottom here. Okay, margin bottom 3. So some margin has created here that will be useful in future. And after that, padding x3. That means I'm expecting the padding only towards x-axis, not at the y-axis. So that I have taken the 3, and I can take the custom class called as title. By using this custom class, I can write the CSS styles to create such kind of transparent effect and all. Okay, that's why I have taken the custom class called as title here, and this part is completed successfully. Okay, so this title part is completed in the content. So once the title is completed, now we can focus on applying styles to the title here. So for the title, first let us take the background color. Title of header dot title here, and now you can apply the background color. So the background color, I'm going to take the RGB combination here. So for the RGB combination, I can take the red value as 228 and the green value as 212. You no need to by heart these values, guys, so that you can even customize these values by using the technique. Now you can see I have taken some background color, some light, what is this? Light cream color actually I have taken. But I want to make this as transparent. The background image should visible through this. Then we can see the glassy effect here. But as of now, the background image is not appearing. So now I want to make it transparent. How can we make it transparent? Basically, we have a property called as opacity. For example, if I use the property called as opacity, we can face an issue. The values are from 0 to 1. For example, the opacity values are ranging from 0 to 1. If I write 0 here, so it will get the complete transparency. So it won't make only the content, it will make the text also transparency so that you cannot see the text. If I write 0.5 here, okay, so the background is fine, but the content on the top is also turned into this one. That's why the opacity is not the right choice. So now you can use a trick here. So the RGB combination can take 3 values, red, green, and blue. It can take the 4th value also, that is called as alpha, which can be used to decide the intensity of this one. So these values is from 0 to 1. Let me take the value 0.4. Now you can see, so the text is still appearing with the same brightness, but the remaining space is turned into the transparent, and you can see the background image also through it. So this is the 4th value. So for the RGB combination or hexadecimal, you can use the 4th one, that is called as alpha, which can be used to decide the intensity of this RGB color. Now I have taken the normal RGB color, but I had decreased the intensity to 0.4. 0 means 0 transparent, high transparency, 1 means 0 transparency. If you take the values in between them, you will get such kind of transparent effect. Okay, so now the particular part is almost completed successfully. Good. So let us move this aside for some time. And once the title part is completed, that is from here to here. Okay, let me collapse this title. So once the title is completed, now we want to add an image also here. That means we can see some image at the left side. So to add this image, I'm going to take the image element here. So for this image element, I can use double dot slash because it is existed in the same folder. And from these images, you can use the 2.wp. Okay, now you can see that image is appearing, but this image is very big in size. We have to customize this image with respect to that. So for that purpose, I can use the class here. So what properties I can use? First of all, I want to make it as circle. That's why I can use the bootstrap class as a rounded circle. Now it will be turned into the circle, and let me use some width for this. I would like to make the width of the image to 300 pixels. To get the perfect circle, we have to give the same height also, so that I am giving the width and height as 300 pixels. Then the rounded circle will convert this into like this. Okay, so now the class rounded circle. Okay, for the class I have a rounded circle, and after that let's take some space. Margin bottom 2 I have taken, and after that, okay, that is fine. Okay, now let us see this image here. So the rounded circle is not applied to this one. Rounded, see here, this is typo. Okay, ROUNDED. Now you can see that image is turned into a rounded one. Please check the class name spellings when you are developing it. Okay, so now you can see exactly we got the same image with the same size. This header part is almost about to complete. So now we need to focus on the styles of this heading as well as this particular thing also. Okay, so now let's go to here and add some information to this CSS styles. Let us focus on the CSS styles. First, let us style the heading and paragraph, because this heading and paragraph not looking so good. So this heading is existed instead of this title, right? So if we take the class called as title, instead of the title, you can find the heading and paragraph. So you should not write H1 in this way. If you write H1 in this way, what happened? These styles will be applied for each and every H1 element. But I want to use these styles only for the H1 element that is part of the title here. Then I can add the parent class reference. Title H1. Okay, what should I do? First of all, I would like to make the color as white. Okay, after the color, I can create the text shadow. Remember guys, when you are styling the text, if you take the white color or any light color of the text, and if you create some shadow effect, it looks really beautiful. So I have created 2 pixels shadow towards the x-axis, 2 pixels towards the y-axis, 2 pixels the shadow effect here, and now I'm using the background RGB color. So that is 207, and after that 161, and you can use some 101. Now you may ask, sir, how can you remember these numbers? So no need to remember these numbers, guys. If you enter some random numbers also, it will give some color. So keep cursor on it, then the color palette will be opened. Whenever you adjust this pointer automatically. So now I need this color actually. I won't bother about these numbers. Until I get this specific color, I move it. So now you can see, so the heading is aligned in the same way here. Heading part is completed. So around that you can see the light color. Why I have chosen this color means this color can match with the image. That's why if you take any other color, it may not looks good. That's why I have taken the color in this way. Next, let me give the title for paragraph also. Dot title and paragraph element. So for that paragraph, so let us use the font weight here, 300. So when you increase the font weight, you can see the size is increased a bit and appearing a little bit bolder. And you can change the color to this. So color you can use green actually, but this is not exactly perfect green. Okay, you can use the color green here. For that I have used the hexadecimal code. I got this hexadecimal code even from the same website, color hex, which we have already opened. So that is 0CFF31. Okay, so now we can see it is turned into the same color. Now let's compare these two. Okay, so almost we get the same kind of thing. Okay, so now this title part on top of the header is completed, and the image is also placed here successfully. Now let us focus on this part. So why I have taken this part means without this part also we can create, but I want to make this design really complicated. The reason is when you keep on adding the elements in the plain way, so you can really enjoy everything. But your client will ask you to create the application with some unique changes. For example, it is appearing to be some unique feature here. You can write some highlight feature of the restaurant in this location so that it will attract the user glance. So when your client asks you, you may feel, sir, it is really difficult. You can in your mind you can think it is really difficult to create such kind of thing. Then why can't we place the text directly on the image? Then your client will ask, no, don't place this text directly on the image just like this. It will appear like some normal text. Just you can create something here and you can make it. Then the challenge will be started. That's why when you deal with such kind of complex parts also from the beginning, it would be very, very easy to us. Okay, so now let us design this part here. So for that purpose, let's go to the VS Code and move these CSS styles for some time. Okay, after the image here, I want to place the text. I can name it as banner, for example. Okay, I'm going to call that as the banner. So let us take the div element here, and I want to make this to occupy 50% width. So I have given the bootstrap class W50. I want to move this to move to the center of the page. I have given that as MX auto, and I can increase the size a bit so that I have used the bootstrap class display 6, and I can write the text center. So the content will be moved to all the text content will move to the center, and I can take the custom class called as banner also. Okay, instead of that, I can take the dummy text lorem here of some forwards. Okay, so now you can see the text is appearing on this. Finally, we want to convert this text that is appearing here like below here. How can we do that? Yes, for that purpose, we have to write definitely the CSS. We need to use CSS position properties and all the things one by one. Now let's go to the CSS here, and you can start writing the banner properties here. Yeah. So now the title part is completed successfully, title of the header and all these prop styles related to the title. Now I'm going to focus on banner. So banner is the custom class I have taken here. Okay, this is custom class. The remaining all are meaningful bootstrap classes, but this class has no meaning. I have taken this class to write some CSS along with these bootstrap styles for this content. Okay, so what I'm expecting for this banner. So write dot banner. So the first thing is I can make its position as absolute. So its parent is relative. Already I have given the header is the parent, its position is relative. When we make the children's position is absolute, what happened? Now you have the facility to move this child with respect to that position, because if the element's position is absolute, it will be removed from the document flow, and you can move this relative to the positioned ancestor. That means its parent is already positioned. If the parent is not positioned, it start move with respect to the body of the document, but I want to move this with respect to the parent. That's why here I change its parent to the relative here. Okay, so that is the first thing. So once you make this change, let us see it has moved to this location. Okay, so the next thing is I want to move it a little bit down. I can make it as 30 pixels, bottom 30 pixels. Now you can see some 30%, it is almost something, some 75% outside of this header and some 30% inside of this one. Okay, and after that you can use some color. So you can use some colors here. Okay, we can focus on the color later. I want to create a border. So 5 pixel border, solid, and you can take the color as white. Now you can see a white color shadow, a white color border is created around this element. Okay, so that is fine. And after that, I want to create the rounded corners, border radius of 10 pixels. Now the rounded corners are created for this content. After you create the rounded corners, you can use some color to the text. Okay, this color also hexadecimal color I have taken from this website. So you can use E85. So I don't have the time to show these colors, because you can just search colors from that website. That means this is the website we have opened. So from here I have selected the colors. I think no demonstration is required to pick the colors here. That's why I'm writing the code directly. Okay, so now I have taken the color for this text, and I want to take the background color for this. So for the background color, I can use antiquite. That is just a named color. You can see almost it is about to create. Okay, but I want to move this to the center here. This is a positioned element. How can we move this to the center? Yes, first thing is I can write left 0. Okay, and after that right 0. Then it will move to the right left corner. Almost it's moved to the center of this page. And we can write the margin as margin left to auto. That means automatically it will take care of the margin left auto, and the margin right also to auto. So margin right to auto is also completed. So that now it is almost created exactly in the same way. So now to create this kind of effect, actually, this is not really a big deal here, right? The reason is, I have taken the position property to absolute and move it outside, because when we take the position to absolute, you can move the child with respect to its position parent wherever you want. So I make it to move 75% outside, 25% inside. And after that, to get this cut effect, actually, it is appearing like this part is cut from this one. Simply I have taken the white border. Actually, this is not really cut from this. Instead of that, I have taken the white border. When I take the white color border, automatically you can see such kind of effect in this place. So this is also completed successfully. Header part is over. So once the header part is over, we are going to focus on this main part here. Okay, I think creating this main part is really simple. If you create only one of the cards, you can repeat the same code, but you can change the images here. We already downloaded the images, that's why it is not a big deal to use images here. Okay, so the navigation bar part is completed and the header part is completed. Okay, so now let me close this header here, collapse it. Two parts are completed successfully. Now we are going to focus on the main content here. So when we come to the main content here, okay, so the main content is going to have the grid of cards. Let us have a look on this website. This grid of cards is having the space. The header and the navigation bar both have occupied 100% width. But when you come to the main content, it has not occupied, because if it occupies 100% width, it looks worst actually. That's why for the main content, it is always recommended to take the margin at left and right side. How can we take that easily? You can use the class called as container. When we take the container class, so that container will automatically create the such kind of equal left and right margin, and inside of the container you can start adding the content whatever you want. Okay, so now what should I do here? The first thing is, we know how to create the grid of cards, and here I can take one more class called as main, that is the custom class, because I need to write some CSS styles also here, and I'm using the margin with respect to the y-axis. I don't want the margin towards x-axis, so that I have used the margin towards the y-axis. Okay, now let us create grid of cards here. So for the grid of cards, you no need to copy the code. Okay, simply I can take a row here. Okay, and after that I can write row hyphen calls hyphen 1. That means in extra small screens, one column should visible. Row hyphen calls hyphen sm hyphen 2. In the small devices, two columns should appear in a row. Next, row hyphen calls hyphen md hyphen 3. So with respect to the medium devices, three columns should appear, and row hyphen calls hyphen lg hyphen 4. In the large screens, it can display the 4 items here. Okay, and after that I want to have the margin with respect to that margin 5, so that you will get the margin towards the y-axis. Okay, so the main class is completed, and instead of that I can take the column, and instead of the each column I'm going to create a card. Now let me create one card here, and then I can copy paste the code. And how many cards I have created here? 2 rows. Each row contains 4 cards. Total 4 columns I have to create. I mean 8 columns, and each column contains a card. So let me design one column here, and I can repeat this column for 8 times in this place. Okay, so instead of this column, so I need to create a card. We know how to create the card, right? So I want to have the card here. Okay, so now the card is ready, and on top of the body of the card I want to use the image. So now you already 7 or 8 images are there. You can use the image whatever you want. So let me start working with the image one here. Okay, and then I want to use some properties. I would like to make the image to occupy 100% width. Okay, and I can use cod img-top. Of course, this class is not required, which will make the image will appear. This cod is really not required, guys. You can simply ignore it. Okay, the image part is completed. So once the image is completed, you have to write the cod body. Okay, in the cod body, I would like to move all the content to the center of the page. I can write text center. That means all the text of this cod body will be moved to the center. And instead of the cod body, what I have taken, so once you look at this, I have taken some heading here, and after that a simple paragraph and a button. 3 items I want to take here. Okay, first one, let us take the H1, and I can name it as dish name. I want to use CSS colors for this, not the Bootstrap. That's why I have taken the custom CSS class, and I can apply the color later for that. Now the heading is ready, and after that we can use the paragraph. I can use lorem 10 words here. Later we can decide if it requires more. The paragraph is also completed, and then I need to create a button. Okay, so that now when you look at this button here, we are expecting this kind of effect for this button. Okay, so and also when we click on the button, we are getting the content need to be expanded and collapsed here. So now to get this effect, I need to use the Bootstrap collapse, and the content to be collapsed is some unordered list here, and you can use the button and apply the data BS toggle to collapse. Okay, this is also not required, but so when you look at the Swiggy websites, you can see the customize option where you can add some more butter and more spicy, double spicy. Some options are available, you can customize. So that is the reason why I have placed this button, and it also helps us to revise the concepts, and you can make it your application more attractive. That's why now I want to make this button as such kind of button. Okay, I can use the class called as btn, and I can write btn hyphen outline hyphen warning. Okay, what is the meaning of outline? Outline means it will get the color only at the border of the button, not inside of the button. So sometimes we can use this kind of effect also here. Okay, and for this button, we are going to write the content to be collapsed here. Okay, so here we are going to write the content to be collapsed. So it is very simple content. It is just having the vertical navigation bar here. So for this vertical navigation bar, we can use the simple nav element. So for that purpose, again, you can go to this one, select nav syntax, and just copy the simple navigation link here, and you can use it directly. So simple navigation bar, and let me remove some unwanted elements here. Let's remove it, and disable property also remove it. Just 4 links are here. I'm using the 4 links as usually. Okay, I can write the href is equal to hash, and you can add some meaningful text here. Let's remove this also his. Okay, so now this is the content. Now I want this content to be collapsed. I want to connect this entire UL. Let me collapse this UL. Okay, I want to connect this UL with this button. What can we do? So I have to keep it outside. Okay, so how can I do this on top of this button? I can write customize. So customize text I have given on top of the button. Let us see how it is appearing as of now. Yes, customize button is appearing, and it's giving, this is called as the outline. So it will show only the outline to the button, but when we move the cursor, then it will be filled with that background color. Sometimes these buttons really make it attractive, and these are the links here. But I want to convert this link into vertical list. See here, now it is in the form of the vertical list, not horizontal. How can I convert this into vertical list? It is very simple. So you can use the class called flex column. When you use the class called flex column, see here, automatically the horizontal list is converted into the vertical list. It is quite simple. But the thing is, it should not appear when the page is loaded. When I click on the button, it should appear. When I click on the button, it should be collapsed. So that means here I can use data BS target property and data BS toggle property, that is collapse. And now you need to keep all this content inside of the div element and apply the class called as collapse. Okay, so that now you can see collapse, and we have to take an ID also. And for this, I can take an ID, that is, I can name it as item 1. So you should take care of the IDs because we are going to write so many cards like this. So ID is important, and connect here hash item 1. Now let us see, yes, it is appearing like the normal card, but when we click on it, now it is getting expanded and collapsing. So now one part is completed here successfully. You can repeat the same code, okay, for 8 times. So now you can just take the column here, entire column. Let me collapse this entire column and copy this column code and paste it for 7 times. But when you paste it continuously, it is very difficult to read. Okay, that's why first paste it and collapse it. So now you can see the first column, second column, like that. And this is the third column, again collapse it. And come to the fourth column and collapse. You can even write here comments, that is column 1, column 2. So these all are for our benefit only. So if you do not write these comments, so finally it becomes too clumsy and you cannot work with that in future. If you want to make some changes to this application in future, so if you do not have these comments, it is quite hard to understand the code. That's why please write the comments for our benefit only, not for any others. Okay, fifth column is over. Now this is the sixth column. And next one is the seventh column. And the last one is eighth column. Just I have taken this 8 only. If you want to have some 3 rows, you can take some more elements here. Okay, now total 8 columns I have taken. Now in HTML, if you want to use these 8 columns, I have to write the same code for 8 times with some little changes. Now you can fix this problem by using the React.js. In the React.js, you can create this component and you can reuse this component for 8 times without repeating the code for 8 times. That are the benefits of the latest web technologies. But here the reusability concept is not existed in the HTML. That's why if some 100 cards are required, you have to repeat the same code for 100 times and you cannot reuse them. Okay, so now let me make some changes. In each card I have to make some changes. What is that? The first one is change the image here. Let it be image 2 here. And the important thing is ID. If you do not change the ID, when you click on the first one, second one all will respond. See here, all are expanding. Why? When I click on the first one, why the remaining are responding? Because we have given the same ID for everything. That's why all are responding. That's why we should give the unique ID. And for this content to be collapsed, I can name it as item 2 and connect with this button by writing item 2 here. That is the first change. And you can change the image also. Now you can see when I click on it, the second one is not responding because I have changed the image and the link also. When I click on this, now it is only working because it contains the unique ID. Repeat the same for the remaining all. So that let me close this card here. Now I'm not collapsing the entire column. I am collapsing only the card instead of the column because we need to work with these cards also. And let's come to the third card. So here I can make it as item 3, ID item 3. And for this image, you can change image 3 here. Now let me collapse this card within the column. And let's open here. And this is ID 4. ID 4. 4.jpg. So it is also ready. Let me collapse the card. So now same thing for here. It is item 5. Item 5. And change the image also here like image 5 here. Okay. And then let's go to image 6. 6.jpg. It is item 6. Collapses. Next, 2 more things I have to do here. And item 7, item 7, and take a different image here. Okay, this is also ready. The card. Now the last one here. Item 8. ID is item 8. And I think I don't have the other image. Okay. So for example, let me use some image here. Item 8, for example, I have used. Anyhow, these are items. Yes, I have to use these item images actually, but these images are changed. This is item 1. Because for the items I have selected these kind of images. Okay, the remaining images are some vertical shape. I don't want these images. So meanwhile, I can change these item titles also. This is item 1. The first one is completed. And second one, it is item 2. So while saving the names of the images, I make them really meaningful. Otherwise, it is very hard. It contains almost 20 to 30 images. Which image we should use here? So for the items, because each card is representing an item, so that's why I have changed the names to item for easy identification. But I forgot to use it properly. Now it is item 3. Just I'm changing the images only. It's a quick process. Item 4. This item 5. Item 6. Next, item 7 or item 8. Item 9. Okay, now you can see we have placed the items here properly. But you can find some images have less height and some images have more height. But we are expecting all the images should have the equal height in this way. How can we do that? We cannot decide that, because when we download the images, some images has this height and some images have the less height here. So now how can we fix this problem? If you want to make the images, and also you can see the card size. So because of the small image, the size of this card is less when compared with the other cards. It's totally, they are not in the uniform sizes. The reason is the image. Now I want to make the these particular cards should have the equal height. It is very simple using Bootstrap. Just you can go to the card. In every card, add a class called as H100. Okay, so along with the class, if you write the H100 class, it will make the height as 100 for each and everything. So for every card, let me add the same H100 class. That means height 100 actually. It will make all the cards of this grid will appear in the same size. Now you can see code H-100. Okay. Okay, so first H100 I have given here. Later we have to make some changes here. And next thing is, when you look at these cards, see the height of the cards are equally adjusted. But the image size is not adjusted, because I have adjusted the size of these cards. See here, now the first card, second card, third card, the height of the card is equal now. Previously, some cards have more height, some cards have less height. By writing the class H100, so each card equivalent to the same height here. Now we need to take care of the images. Okay, so now before going to think about images, so the cards which are in the row have the proper space looking good, but the next row is stick to the previous one. It is not looking good. So how can we fix this problem? So for that purpose, Bootstrap has given a class called as gap. So by using this gap class, you can create the gap between them. So for that purpose, you can go to the parent here. Yeah, here we can use GY, that means gap with respect to y-axis. I have given 5. Now you can see with respect to y-axis means not horizontally, vertically you have the space here. Still they have the same space in the row, but with respect to the column, the space is increased. Okay, so now the rows are not connected to each other, not touched to each other. You have the 5 units of space, GY. For example, if I write GX here, so they will get the 5 units of the space with respect to x-axis, not with respect to y-axis. If I write y, there is no change in respect to x-axis, but vertically you can find the gap here. Okay, so now the main part is completed successfully. So once the main part is completed, now we should focus on the images, because these images are not in the same size. How can we deal with that images? So if you want to bring the images of equal size, so you can have already used the class called as card image top. So each image, if you check any one of the image, you have used the class called card image top. So now I can take this class. Okay, come to the CSS. Now I can write equal height to each image of card. Okay, equal height to equal image height. So for that purpose, I have taken this custom class. Okay, so now I would like to give the width as 100%. That means it will occupy 100% width. Now you can see the width is 100%, absolutely fine. So now I have to decide some height also. So the height I am giving some 200 pixels. Now you can see all images reach to the same height, that is 200 or 250, that is your choice. Okay, so now let me try to reduce the width of this page. Okay, so now it is looking good. Okay, so now with the simple technique, we have fixed this problem. Everything is perfect. So now you can even use an additional property called as object fit to cover. When you write the object fit to cover, so that if any additional adjustments are required, all will be made. Now you can see each card has the same height. The image inside of the card is also same height. And whenever we click on this, only that card is expanding and collapsing, but not the remaining here. See here, only this content is expanding. Okay, so the main part is also completed. Now for this main part, I want to take some background image. Okay, and when we look at this here, it has a background image which is fixed here. Okay, now let us take the background image and let us finish that part here. So I have to take the background image for this container, because the main class contains some class called as main, so that you can use either container or something else. Background image for main, so that either you can customize the main class or you can take the container, whatever you want. Even I can try with main also here, because here I already used the class main here, that is the custom class. Okay, so the first thing is take the background image here. Okay, I have some good number of backgrounds here. Let me use this BG1. Now let us see, the background image is there, but it is not looking good. Okay, so the first thing is I don't want this make to repeat itself, so that I can write no repeat. Now that background image is not repeated, but it is not of full size of this page. So then how can we adjust the size of that? We can write the background size. It should be 100% towards the x-axis, and the height should be 300 pixels. So it should occupy 100% width. Now you can see the card has occupied 100% width, but I'm giving the height as just 300 pixels. I don't want to make it to occupy full. When I make this to occupy the full background, we cannot see the fixed effect here. Okay. Next one is I have to attach this. Background attachment is fixed. When the background attachment is fixed, when we are moving that, the background image is not moving. Now you can even place it here, or you can even just move to the bottom here. But in this document, I fixed this at the bottom of the page like this. How can we do that? So by using the property called as position, background position. Okay, so the background position is bottom. When we write the background position bottom, just it will move from top to the bottom. Now you can see the main content is appearing. So it is exactly the same kind of effect we have created. Okay. So now the main content is also completed. So now we can focus on the footer here. Okay, once the footer is completed, we can take care of the remaining things. Okay, so I think creating footer is very simple one. It just takes 2 minutes of the time. So let me quickly create the footer and apply the styles to the footer. So this footer you can find, just I have placed the address in the footer, nothing more than that. So let me move it this side and close this one. The main part is also designed. Let me collapse it so that we can exclusively focus on the footer. So to create the footer, you can use the semantic element called as footer that is existed here. Okay, now I can take the class called as address. Let me create one address and copy paste the same address. So the first one is, I can write this as kphb. Okay, and I can give some contact number. Some address, guys. Okay, now you can copy this and paste it here. Just change to Miapur and I have taken some random number. Now you can see, you can find the address here. We know how to handle this address very, very easily. The only thing is you can take the bootstrap class, that is you can take the flex layout and you can do that very easily. So now let me take the styles for the footer here. Okay, so in this footer, you can apply the styles here. What styles we can apply for the footer? First thing is you can take the flex container. When we take the flex container, automatically they will be adjusted. And after that, we can take the justify content, that is space around. When we take the space around here, so the addresses will spread like this. Okay, and after that I can take the background color. So background color, let me take the black color first, but I don't want the perfect black, it won't looks good. I can make it as light gray color so that I can select this and let me take this. Yeah, it is not the real dark color, just I use this color. So like that, when you want to get some light colors, you can take some hard color and you can adjust with respect to that. And now you can use the color here. So for that color, you can use anything. Okay, so simple, let me make it simple by using white color or wheat color. Use wheat color, that may looks good. Okay, now it is fine. And after that, I need to have the padding. 20 pixels padding at top and bottom, 5 pixels padding at left and right. Now you can see the footer is ready. So now in between them, I want to place an image here. Okay, now instead of that, you can take one more div element and place the image here, dot slash I have taken some footer image here. Okay, this is the footer image. Let me take the class called as footer-img. Now let us define the styles. So footer dot footer-img. If you do not adjust the width, see here the image is very big in size. So that first thing is I want to give the width as 200 pixels. Now you can see it is 200 pixels and it is automatically aligned to the center because these three are the flex items. Automatically the flex will take care of the alignment. And I want to create the border radius rounded effect here. So it is turned into the circle shape, and I can create some shadow effect also for this. These all are additional things, guys. They are not mandatory. So text shadow, 0 pixels towards x-axis, 1 pixel towards y-axis, some 7 pixels blur radius, and after that I can use some wheat color, for example. You can see, so some shadow is created around this one. Okay, guys, that page is totally completed here. Now let us see, is it really responsive or not? Let me open this. Okay, let's go to the mobile view. When you go to the mobile view, yes, now the navigation bar is converted into collapsed navigation bar. Okay, and you can see the main content here, and all the cards are converted into the vertical cards, and the address is also here. Cool, it is working as we expected. Now we need to take care of removing some elements from the mobile view. So we can take care of that on tomorrow session. So today I will share these images also because if you take some different images, it may not looks good. Okay, or you may even take some better images, which is time taking process, because I already downloaded the images so that I can share these images also in a zip file and try to implement this. So once you create at least one website in this way, then you can automatically understand and you will get the interest, and at your free time, so your mind will encourage you to create some new kind of websites. Okay, so guys, ask me if you have any questions. Post your questions in the chat box.